Scientists just figured out how to simulate the moment God spoke matter into existence. I'm not being dramatic. This breakthrough is 13,000 times faster than the world's most powerful supercomputers. And it's revealing the mechanics behind the very words that created reality. Something about the way God structured creation tipped the scales toward matter existing. We've never been able to simulate what happened because the math is impossible. Even our most powerful supercomputers can't handle the calculations needed to model extreme conditions until now.
The only way we can figure out that this chip did what it did is it must have tapped into another parallel universe, and we did something in seconds and in minutes that would have taken hundreds of millions of years to do.
You're watching The Big Picture.
Venezuela, Russia, AI acceleration. So much is going on in the world. And when you start weighing that with prophecy, there's nobody that we prefer more to have on our program to break down what is going on now and what is coming. Because we're winding down 2025 and 26 is coming fast. And I got a feeling that 26 is going to be like no year we've ever experienced. Tonight, on The Big Picture, none other than Paul Begley to break it down and to get us ready.
You're watching The Big Picture.
Well, my good friend Paul Begley is on the program tonight. I love my friend. He is not just a guest of this program. He is family to us. Him and Heidi are just some of our best friends in the world, and they are, the most prominent person that we have on The Big Picture here. Many of you know him and love him. You watch his program on Paul Begley Prophecy, but you also look forward to him coming here on The Big Picture. So we are excited to have him for the final time. We think we might have a breaking news thing with him. Who knows? But of 2025 as we get ready for 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into The Big Picture, Paul Begley.
Woo! Are you serious? Oh, love the Birmingham and the Big Picture audience. I really do.
I mean, look, they're so consistent. The crowd is so consistent here on this program. They're going to shout you down every time you come in. I mean, it's so amazing. They're so consistent. They almost sound exactly the same every time, but they
almost.
Paul, how are you and Heidi doing? Are you in Indiana? Are you in Florida? You are in some, like Mike from around the world? Are you in an undisclosed location? What's going on?
Well, I tell you, no, I'm in Florida today, and Heidi is in Indiana in about 12 inches of snow.
What?
Yeah, she's there right now with a big project she's doing up there, and wow! And then she showed me again. They snowed 8 inches of snow, and then this morning another 4 on top of it.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, she's very freezing. I'm staying down here right now.
Yeah. Have you become like a full-time mentally Florida man now? Are you trying to stay away from the cold winters of Indiana?
I really have. I mean, I am trying every way in the world to avoid the cold winters. I really don't want to go back to Indiana if I can keep from it till the redbud trees are blooming, and the bushes and the dogwood tree. I really want somebody to tell me the dogwood tree's in bloom.
That's the signal. Signal.
I don't know if I can pull that off, but I'm avoiding as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, Paul, we appreciate you being on the program again. We love you so much, and we'll talk more about this in later on in the program. But very soon you'll be in Birmingham with us, and we're excited to have you with us here. And we'll talk more about the webinar that I'm going to be a part of as well. That's going live tomorrow night. So we're very excited about that. But tonight we want to ask you about what's going on in the world. And my first thing that I want to ask you about is I got a feeling this is going to be a big thing. And I did not have this on my bingo card going into the Trump administration, that we would be sitting here talking about not Russia, not China, not the Middle East, but Venezuela. I mean, I just did not see that coming. And so my first question about what's going on in Venezuela, just anything you want to say about that, what your intelligence is telling you. And my gut feeling, Paul, is I see that this is about drugs and fentanyl, and I believe that's a very real thing, but it almost feels to me like that's sort of a cover for something else. It just seems like there's more going on in Venezuela. What is your opinion on that?
There is. Okay. There's Intel is telling us right now, there are planes that have been flying out of Venezuela to Russia right now, Russian airline. And I thought yesterday that those planes had Nicolás Maduro's cabinet members and family members, but I'm wrong. It's full of Russians evacuating. Putin is evacuating Russian citizens out of Venezuela right now. Plane load after plane load after plane load. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be some Venezuelan staff and cabinet that are going to go also. But what I'm hearing is that Maduro is not going to Russia, but he is in the process. He's saying he's going nowhere, and he's willing to fight Trump. But the truth is, he's had back channel conversations with the Iranians. He's going to probably wind up in Iran. If he's going to fight first, he's going to see if he can hang on to power first. But if it looks like there's no other option, he's probably going to Iran. Russia, I'm not saying Russia's turning their back on him, but they're getting their people out there first. Wow. So the wheels are coming off this regime, even if the media doesn't really want to say that right now, Bishop, because they don't want Trump to look good. And Let me tell you what else is going on. It's not just about the drugs and the Russians. It's about the money to the Democrats and the midterms. War is not just with Venezuela on drugs and Russians setting up shop in our backyard, and that's part of it. But it's about the cash. It's about the massive amounts of drug money that's been flowing into the Democrat Party over the last since the Obama administration. So you have to understand what Trump has done. When he shut down the border, he shut down a massive cash flow. It's drugs, human trafficking, sex trafficking, child trafficking, cash. Where was that cash going? It was going to Washington. It was going into the Democrat Party. Now he's shutting down more cash with this battle with Venezuela. This is the dirty little secret that's not being shared, really. And so I'm breaking it right here on the.
Oh, you are breaking it, because I was literally about to say the words. I've not heard anybody say that. That is a very, very interesting theory there.
And I got this from two different government insiders who have let me know that, hey, it's the Russians that are fleeing, and it's about the cash. This is about the midterms. So yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but that's what's happening.
Dude, that is amazing. That is an incredible, incredible thought. It makes sense. It absolutely makes sense, because, you have to start asking yourself, why do they get so militantly angry over shutting the border? I mean, we've always said it's because they were getting votes, but there was plans to make them citizens to give them votes, and I believe that was part of it. But what you're saying, it makes more sense to me, is because why would you go so mentally ballistic over closing the border of your country just over votes? It's more than that. You're saying it's more than that, and that there's Venezuela is apparently, according to what you're saying, is a very hotbed place for this. The drug trafficking money. Now let's go there, and let's the viral thing that everybody's talking about right now is, the Department of War has been taking out these drug boats coming across the ocean, and then this week they couldn't stop asking this question over and over again. They're trying to always find a narrative, and the narrative was, what kind of country would do it again if there were survivors? And supposedly 2 guys survived one of them. I don't know if you saw that, and they were hanging on the side of the boat, and they hit it again, and they're just that's the narrative. Versus what you're saying, they don't want to talk about what the reason is. They want to talk about the boats and all of that. So, what are you hearing on that?
You're exactly right. They're trying to change the narrative that Pete Hegseth is a warlord, that he's a bloodbath, that he's wanting to just blood. No, this isn't about that. Look, when you're at war, you've been told don't bring the boats with the drugs. Okay, it's a war. It's not, go home.
Right.
You are at war. And why the Democrats are so angry and are trying to change the narrative to make Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump look like, war crimes is because they're killing them with their cash flow.
Wow.
When Trump shut down the border of Mexico, that shut down the ground trafficking of people and money and drugs. So since then, the drug cartels have had to use the boats and delivering them by boat. They never dreamed that Trump was going to go right after that avenue and go straight after the biggest distributors of it coming out of Venezuela. They did not see that coming. That's why I didn't see it coming. That's why you probably didn't see it coming.
Right.
It's because we didn't know what the real reason is. It's about the money. It's about the midterms. Trump is trying to cut them down to at the knees over their cash flow. And that's why you see this anger and this narrative. They're trying to say Trump's he's deranged and he's sick and he's staggering and Pete Hegseth wants nothing but blood. No, this is all about shutting down their cash. And that's really what this is. This is going to be a very ugly midterm. I was hoping not, but it is going to be. And so there's one other option here. If you can't get it in on land and you can't get the drugs in by sea, you only got one other option. You got to fly them in by air. And you'll see there will be a shift in policy having to do with commercial air jets or cargo jets coming into this country. You asked me for a prediction for 2026.
Yeah.
There it is. That's phase 3. Stop it by land, stop it by sea, and stop it by air. It's coming.
Well, I hate to see this happen, but let's go there. If that's the case, if the intelligence coming back to the Trump administration is, okay, they're not going to do it by boat anymore, they're not going to do it by land, so they're going to bring it in by air, could we see then the escalation of taking aircraft out as well? And of course, that will snowball into, they'll try to make that as obviously a public relations nightmare. But here's the thing that I feel is pretty dangerous is that I think where you're going is changing the policy, the TSA policy and all this. We might see some changes in that is because the Venezuelan drug lords would be stupid if they didn't try to smuggle them in on commercial airlines with innocent people.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, that puts us in a very difficult situation because we're not going to take down, regular public. So it's like, what in the world is that going to mean?
Well, there's going to be, Trump has already give us a hint. I don't know if anyone picked up on it, but Trump announced that the Venezuelan airspace is closed.
He did, yes.
That was the first hint. If you can't fly anything out of Venezuela, well, you're not going to. We don't have to worry about shooting them down over our head because they can't get off the ground in Venezuela. So that's one. But Venezuela is not the only culprit here. Okay, there's other countries that are also flying drugs in. You have to look at Colombia. You have to look at some of the other. There's a couple other Central American countries, and you have to look at some of the other Asian companies. There's a couple Asian countries that also will be trying to smuggle in by commercial. And you're right. We're not going to shoot down a commercial aircraft full of people. Right. That we won't do. We would shoot down cargo planes because we're blowing up boats right now. Okay. Right. We don't care to shoot down cargo planes. But I think what Trump is doing is he's shutting off he's using Venezuela as the example. You're not going to do this. I'll shoot your boats out of the air. We're going to get rid of this leader, and we're going to shut down your airspace. Matter of fact, we're going to almost build a blockade around it to where things can't come and go in and out of Venezuela. And hopefully, and the CIA, you got to know, Bishop, the CIA is on the ground in Venezuela.
Absolutely, yeah.
To try to create this groundswell to get rid of Maduro. So, yeah, this is really a war. And when I started writing my book that's coming out in May, Trump versus the Beast, I know that in Revelation, the beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. Yeah. And I've been focusing on the 10 kings of Revelation. And I think there are 10 different industries and leaders. And we're going to zero in on that in the book. But the 7 heads, I've been asking and praying, Lord, what are the 7 heads? Because it could be so many different things. And there's been all kinds of concepts, the 7 hills of Rome and the 7 hills of Greece and the 7 hills in Washington, D.C., for that matter. And the 7 continents on the planet. But the Lord is showing me that there's 7 different ideologies that
Wow.
are all anti-Christ. So Venezuela, even though it says it's a Christian nation, and I believe it is, of the people, this regime,
Mm.
Maduro, is a puppet of the communists and the Russians. And he's in bed with the drug lords, and there's just and with the Democrats. I mean, I know nobody wants to bring this. Maybe I'm the only guy going to bring it up. Maybe I'm
Come
going to
on.
get crucified or pulled over here somewhere on the side of the road. But I'm telling you, Trump versus the beast, he is fighting a monster, and there's nothing they won't do. Okay, so I don't want to go any
No,
further.
no, 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 no. That's good. That's good. That's why we have you on, Paul. No, you're fearless, man. You'll say things that nobody else will say, and I love that. I love that.
You'll have to edit it out, but that's okay.
I ain't edited nothing out. Are you kidding me? No, this is going live, baby. I want the world to know that we ain't scared to call it out. All right, so let's you mentioned Russia. Let's go there. I think that's a breaking news thing as well, because some people are doing some TikTok videos about the planes going out. They thought it was Maduro going to Brazil and all of this. But you're saying your intelligence is saying to you that Russia is evacuating their citizens. Well, that sort of confirms my theory, is that when I started saying this is more than drugs, I started thinking, and maybe I'm wrong on this, it's just my thought here, is that that's the cover because for something that Russia and maybe even China was doing, that there was almost like a Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 type thing, to where Russia was maybe building some missile sites or some AI military something there, using Venezuela under the Maduro regime to hide, to get almost like redoing Cuba, a little bit further away than Cuba, obviously, but in striking range, and that Trump was using the whole drug cover to maybe get ready to go into Venezuela to take out some things that they don't want to tell the world that they know is there. Have you heard anything about that, or is that just conjecture on my part?
No, that's great observation on your part. There's that, the old saying is, Rahm Emanuel said it, never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let a good strategy be just one thing. Okay. It's multiple things. So yes, the Russians and the Chinese, without question, have been putting not only weapons, but building military underground installations that can be utilized in the Western Hemisphere against the United States and the West. There's no doubt. There is no doubt that is happening. So, yeah, we would like to get rid of Maduro. He's a bad guy, but that's not the reason. There's a lot of bad guys. Russia and China in your backyard, that's a problem.
Yes.
Cash flow going into the Democrats, that's a problem, especially when it's dirty money. And nuclear or weapons of, you've heard of the Havana syndrome, the microwavable type weapons. Now there's new weapons that Russia has and China has that they would love to use on the Americans.
Yes.
And so it's all part of a grander plan of things that are being done. It's not just one thing. You're right. It's several. So one thing Trump has to do is say, okay, we can't let Russia and China get away with that. And I don't want to come out and say these guys are doing this and we're going to stop them, because then you got an international problem when you start making accusations like that. So you do that, but you make the drug war as your cover for dealing with the Russians and the Chinese and the installations they're building and their weaponry they're building, and also you deal with the whole situation as it relates to the positioning of that government. So you got to take that government out. You have to really, really do. And one way or the other, and we'd like for it to come organically, but it's going to have to, I'm not sure. And
well, that's what a lot of people on the right, a lot of MAGA, a lot of Trump supporters are really pushing back and really upset with the president, because he promoted himself as a president of peace, that he's, all about, trying to stop wars. Why are you trying to start a war? And so we're seeing a lot of pushback on that. And most people that are that voted for him do not want to go into another war. And quite frankly, myself included. I don't want to go into another war. I'd rather stay away from that. And but he's talking about possibly ground troops. He's talking about invasion and so forth. And that's what makes me think that it's got to be more than just drugs. You're not going to bring in a country like America into a ground war for drugs only. Although that's bad and those things are horrible. It's killed a lot of people, killed more than terrorists have killed. But I just don't see you threatening to put boots on the ground for just a drug war. So that makes me think there's more going on than what we're being told, and that that Russia's involved and all of that. So I feel like that 2026 is going to be a year that you're going to see some things exposed. The word disclosure is really being thrown around. It's tied to UFOs. It's tied to aliens.
Right.
But I think it is the year of disclosure beyond just that. I think some things that are international, some governmental things are going to get disclosed or revealed in a way that is going to shake Americans to their core. By you saying that this is about money, this is about Washington, that it's really cutting off money, that the money was being used to fund political candidates. I mean, I think when you start getting into that and the skin gets pulled back, the cover gets pulled back, it's going to trouble a lot of people, because we're talking about the black budgets, the things that we're going to talk about on your webinar, and things that are going to be revealed in 2026 and through this disclosure. There's so much going on that we have not been told about, Paul. And I feel like the enemy knows that it's about to get exposed. So therefore, I think 26 is going to be the year that it just escalates. Do you feel like 26 is going to be a year of acceleration?
It's going to be. I like the word you used, disclosure, and not in the terms of just UFO or the UAP, that whole phenomenon that's being discussed. Disclosure of diabolical agendas. Your perception of there being more to it than just the drugs, or that Maduro's a bad guy. Trump would never drag America into a war just because Maduro is a bad guy, treating his people horrible, just turning that country into a communist, full-blown communist country. He also wouldn't drag us into a war with foot soldiers over just the drugs. That wouldn't be enough either. You're right. Or just the cash. That wouldn't be enough either. Although those things are all three important. But Russia, China setting up shop in our backyard with capabilities that we may not have the ability to shut down, that you can't let that happen. And so the MAGA people that are crying, you can't tell them the big picture, if you will, because they can't handle the truth. They just can't handle the truth. And they need to have a little faith. I mean, you prayed this guy in, you voted this guy in, you see him doing everything he can to make America great again. And now just because you don't understand why, that does, you don't lose your cookies over that. You don't all of a sudden backslide all of a sudden. Where are you going to go? You going to leave MAGA? Well, where are you going? Who are you going to? You're going to go run into Mandami? Put your arms around that little commie? I mean, where are you going? Okay. I mean, where are you going? Whose arms are you going to fall into?
Wow.
Margie Taylor Greene. Whose arms are you falling into? There's nowhere to go. Stay with the man. Okay. He has the plan, and he has America's best interest at heart. I know it's frustrating to see, MBS in the White House and these guys. But, in the real world, you got to hold your friends close, but your enemies closer. You got to figure out what your real big problems and big threats are. And Trump knows we got a problem. It's Russia and China, and it's in our backyard. And so
I hear something. I hear people saying, "What's wrong with you, Paul? You want to throw us into the arms of a man? What about Jesus?" Listen, do you even know Paul Begley? Do you even know Larry Ragland? Do you even know who we are? Have you watched anything other than this one show? I mean, that's what we do. Is our only hope is Jesus Christ. Our hope
And
is not Donald Trump. Our hope is not the Republicans. Our hope is not the Democrats. Our hope is not a man, period.
no,
I love you, Paul Begley, but you're not my savior.
I know. Well,
And I'm not yours.
Thank God I'm not, because we'd all be lost. Look, Jesus Christ, as you know, and we know, we
That's
preach
it.
for our whole life, is that he's the way, the truth, and the life. There's no other way
Yes.
into heaven but by him.
Absolutely.
Christ is our king. Trump is our president. And we
That's
got
it.
real enemies out there.
Yeah.
And,
And look, Paul, I've heard you call out the president. You're not a yes man and a minion. We call him out. Listen, we're not afraid to call him out. We're just saying, look, let's look at the alternative. I mean, where are you going to go with the alternative? And that's why we're not going to pull back from what we're saying. We've got to understand this when we call the show The Big Picture, is there's more going on than what you can see or hear or feel. That's in the spirit realm. But there's also politically, you don't tell everybody what you're doing. That's just stupid. I mean, that's just stupid. Okay, let's just tell it like this. That's just stupid, especially in the media, because the media is just going to dissect it. But I'm going to tell you what we do tell, what's on our heart, and that is this upcoming webinar that I'm excited to be a part of. It's going live tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm excited to be a part of this, and we're going to come right back into talking about the news of the day. But I wanted people to know that they can go to paulbegleyprophecy.com, paulbegleyprophecy.com or .org, and you can sign up for the webinar that I'm a part of called Predictions 2026. Real quick, Paul, tell us what we can expect in this webinar and why this is important to go in the month of December as we get ready for 2026.
This is so important because you have to prepare. In the spirit world, you really do need to have an ideal of what you're walking into. That's what the gift of the prophecies are about. When people are getting what sometimes we call it a prophecy or a vision. Sometimes it's just an inward discernment or a spiritual unction of the Holy Ghost. The gifts of the Spirit are primarily to help give us sure footing of what we're going against. You can have God's inspirational gifts. There's the power gifts, there's the inspirational gifts, and there's the prophetic gifts.
Yeah.
And the prophetic gifts, of course, are tongues, interpretation of tongues, and prophecy, those three. And then you have the gifts of the Spirit where you have the word of knowledge, you have a word of wisdom, you have the ability to discern the Spirit and walk in the power of God. And so in this webinar, we have brought in Bishop Larry at Ragland, of course, will be incredibly, his ability to discern the situation and to give us an overview of what could be coming and what he sees is coming in 2026. And we brought in guys from different avenues. For instance, we're bringing in John, the AI guy, who's incredible, to tell us where's AI going. But we're also bringing in Agent X, who's actually just released a book called Deception by Machines.
Wow.
And he's a 32-year veteran, retired from the NSA. So he's got a lot of great insight, and he is showing us how that technology is being used for grand deception of the populace.
Absolutely.
And so he'll be talking about that in this. It's an incredible. I've already interviewed him for the webinar. It's incredible. Mike around the world, as always, he gave us an overview for 26, which is huge. And I actually, Bishop Larry, besides that, I actually said I want to go back and look at some of the prophecies of the past. So we're going, so we went out and we found some prophecies from Dr. Lester Sumrall, from Dr. Irvin Baxter that I interviewed 7 years ago and 8 years ago, from Kim Clement, from David Wilkerson. We're bringing in prophecies from these four who've all, that now we can learn from in these end times. So we take the modern day guys like you and the guys from the past and overlay it in a webinar to help set the stage for 2026.
It's going to be huge. So go there, Paul Begley Prophecy. com right now. Sign up, and y'all, when you hear what I'm going to be saying on the webinar, I'm telling you, I'm dropping a bomb. I text Paul before we ever recorded it, and I said, "Look, get ready, we're dropping a bomb." So let's get back into the news of the day. You mentioned the AI guy that's going to be on there, talking about AI acceleration. I believe one of the things that I'll talk about on the webinar, and what I'm talking about on my show all the time, is I believe 26 is the year of rapid acceleration in AI. I believe that I don't believe that we will even, I don't think we'll ever be told the truth here. We keep being told AGI, artificial general intelligence, is coming within the next 1 to 2 years. I believe we already have it. I believe it's already in the hands of the government. I believe that it is systematically being told to us that it's going to be 1 to 2 years away. I believe we already have artificial general intelligence, which means, for those that are new to the channel here and new to that term, that a computer, AGI, when it achieves that, it is as smart as any human being, the smartest human being that has ever existed in the history of humanity. If you could find the most intelligent man or woman in the world, AGI is at least as smart or smarter than that human being. The next step is ASI, artificial superintelligence, which is smarter than the entire collective of humanity in existence. You put the mind, you take every mind of every human being that has ever existed, put it into one mind, and create one person that has the knowledge of every human being. Artificial superintelligence is smarter than that person. So it no longer needs humans. And we did a show not long ago on The Big Picture. Many of you watched it. It's the biggest show we've ever had, where we broke down how the movie The Terminator is not just predictive programming. It is on steroids predictive programming, because we're there. So all of that is to lead me to say this to you. As you have been doing your show, as you've been studying, preparing for your book, and the things that you're doing now, where do you see in the scheme of prophecy, of end times Bible prophecy, the book of Revelation, which you are a scholar when it comes to that, a theologian, where do you see AI in 2026 and beyond playing into Bible prophecy, and where are we in relation to the image of the beast and the beast system?
It is huge in prophecy for especially the beast and the beast system. The beast system will be completely designed and orchestrated by AI.
Wow.
No doubt. Developed, implemented, and it's doing it right now. They're doing it right now. Digital ID, digital currency, a global surveillance society, everything. It's not just facial recognition, but iris and facial and bone structure. To bone structure, and of course you got the fingerprints, and then your DNA. Okay, so they got all these different ways to identify people. Why and everything's being recorded. I mean, they're building massive AI data centers underground, so many of them now, and it takes so much water and power that we don't have enough power plants. They're building underground nuclear facilities to make these things. And now Elon Musk is saying, look, we're going to have to put these data centers in space where it's cold. It's going there. So look, AI is going to help lay the track for the mark of the beast and the beast kingdom. It's doing it. It's accelerating. I think that's a great word you're using for 26. It's moving forward. We also know it will be a part of the mark of the beast, the control of food, control of water, and social credit scores, and who you are. You're already being identified. The shadow banning is already being put into the social media now. All podcasters are being labeled and put into certain categories, and that will affect their ability to expand, or they'll slowly be shrinking. And we already see it happening, so we know it's happening. All of that is to change the narrative. The AI is also you can't trust. You can ask AI a lot of questions, and it can give you a lot of different answers, and a lot of them are good, but you can't trust them all.
No.
Because they lie. They'll quote books, paragraphs out of books that aren't even in the books. They do all kinds of things that are deceptive. So we are watching AI, and obviously the mark of the beast, whatever mechanism they're going to use will be done in structure built by AI. So this is a year where it's beyond. I'm going to say this: the building of the third temple is will be the acceleration of the building of the third temple is because of the acceleration of AI.
Wow.
They have to start because AI is going faster than the geopolitical world was. The geopolitical world can't keep up with the speed of AI.
No.
You know, that 2030 agenda that the United Nations had, AI is ahead of that. AI is ahead of that. It could be there by 2027.
Yeah.
So
and make no mistake about it. I even preached this at my church Sunday. I talked about Agenda 2030. I said, you go back 20 years ago. I found articles 20 years ago where the United Nations was talking about the year 2030. I mean, back about 2 years ago, when it was big at the World Economic Forum, I did a search I went to major corporations, Coca-Cola, Frito-Lay's. I'm talking about major corporations, Starbucks, all
these guys.
And you put in there, in fact, there's some of them are still there, but they're hiding it now. You could go to their website and you could search on their website just the words 2030, the number 2030. And every one of these companies had plans for 2030. They had their 2030 agenda. They don't put that much into a year and then just do away with it. So they're still moving towards it, and they've got to accelerate. And here's where AI is playing into what you're saying is when you look at that 17 sustainable goals of Agenda 2030, it looks like it's impossible that we can get to all 17. But with AI, you can because they can accelerate it. I want to show you something, Paul.
Okay.
And I want to get your live reaction to it.
Here we go.
I have not prepared you for
before. You've done this to me before, and you haven't prepared me. I have no idea what I'm going to see.
You have no idea what you're about to see. And I want to get your pure reaction. I promise you, to the Big Picture viewers, I've not even told them what it's about. There's a channel that I follow, and I really, really love this channel because I'm a tech person. I love technology. And this is by this lady. Her name is Julie McCoy. And Julie McCoy is a leading voice in AI. And she has a company teaching corporations how to make sure that you're ahead of the game in using AI. And she is a prominent conference speaker. She speaks in corporations all over the country and the world. And she started getting really, really busy with her company. So she had an idea. She's like, I need to continue to grow my YouTube presence while I'm staying on the road and I don't have enough time. So you know what she did? She created an avatar of herself.
Yep.
And it is spot on. It looks exactly like her. If you did not know any different, you would think it's her. So every day, every other day, she is putting out videos in the studio, and 100% of it is AI. Now, she writes the scripts. This is what she says. She researches it, and she gives it to her voice and to her image, and she does this show. Now, this is Julie McCoy. This is not the real Julie McCoy. This is the avatar, the background, the studio, the microphone, the person, the voice. Everything you see on this channel is 100% AI. It is not her at all. She simply wrote the script. Now, the reason I'm getting you to react to this is not because of that. Is because of the video that she dropped today. And this video that she dropped today, I will read the title. Scientists just unlocked the code behind creation itself. Here's what it means for your future. So I'm going to let you hear this avatar. First of all, it's freaky that this person's not real, but I want you to listen to what she is saying, because what she is saying, and I believe that she is a believer. Okay, I can't prove that yet, but I believe that she is a believer. I believe that she is using this technology to show, and we're going to show the big picture because I haven't shown this on my channel yet. This is the first time I've shown this because I saw it today. That they believe that the quantum computing and AI combined, they have broke the code of how God and she says it, how God actually created the world.
Scientists just figured out how to simulate the moment God spoke matter into existence. I'm not being dramatic. This breakthrough is 13,000 times faster than the world's most powerful supercomputers. And it's revealing the mechanics behind the very words that created reality. When God said, "Let there be light," and spoke matter into existence, something extraordinary happened at the quantum level. The Bible tells us in Genesis that God created the heavens and the earth by the power of his word. But what actually happened in that moment? How did spoken intention become physical matter? And here's the mystery. There should be equal amounts of matter and antimatter in the universe. They should annihilate each other, leaving nothing but energy. But clearly, that didn't happen. Something about the way God structured creation tipped the scales toward matter existing. We've never been able to simulate what happened because the math is impossible. Even our most powerful supercomputers can't handle the calculations needed to model extreme conditions where quarks and gluons interact inside atomic nuclei. The equations from the standard model of particle physics just become too complex. Until now. Scientists just used IBM's quantum computers to create something called scalable quantum circuits. Think of it like this. They figured out how to prepare the exact starting conditions of a particle collision, like what happens in a particle accelerator, but on a quantum computer using over 100 qubits. This is massive because quantum computers don't think like classical computers. Classical computers use bits that are either 0 or 1. Quantum computers use qubits that can be both 0 and 1 simultaneously in what's called superposition. This means they can process multiple scenarios at once, making them exponentially more powerful for certain types of problems. And Google just took this even further with their quantum echoes algorithm running on their Willow quantum chip. It's 13,000 times faster than the most powerful supercomputers for specific quantum tasks. Let me break down what they did, because it's actually beautiful. First, they designed quantum circuits that can...
All right, Paul. I will link the whole video down below if anybody wants to go watch it. But several things that was said in that video. We've not been able to figure out how God did it.
Right.
Because the math is impossible until now. Now, basically what they are saying, Google is saying, through the combination of CERN, understanding how particles collide, what happens, because remember, they were trying to find the God particle. That's what they've all publicly stated, but they couldn't do it. They were supposedly, I think it never was about that anyway. I think it was all about opening portals and all of that. We've talked about that before. But now through the power of quantum computing, which takes ones and zeros at the same time, and Google even admitted when they figured out that one problem, remember when they first debuted the Willow processor, they said it did something they can't explain. And the only way, Google itself, you can find it anywhere on the internet. This is not conspiracy theory. They said the only way we can figure out that this chip did what it did is it must have tapped into another parallel universe, a parallel dimension, and caused that parallel dimension to do the same thing, because we all did it at the same time. And we did something in seconds and in minutes that would have taken hundreds of millions of years to do. Now we see, and this is why I want to get your reaction to everything you just saw, is that they are publicly saying, we have figured out how God did it. So my question to you is, why would they, first of all, we know they haven't, but why would they promote that they figured out how God did it as we move into this AI world? Your reaction?
Well, first of all, it's incredible that they could create supercomputers now that are D-Wave computers that are 13,000 times faster than a supercomputer. Okay, so that alone is incredible. And the first thing that popped in my head right there was when they were building the Tower of Babel, the fallen ones were able to use fallen angel technology to create a way to it wasn't just to build a tower, but God said they figured out how to climb into the heavens. They have figured out the formula of life.
Wow.
I have to slow that way down. They're way out ahead of the timeline I have for humanity. So he scrambles their languages and shuts them down on this. Here we are now. We've blown past that because it doesn't matter what language you are. You can use translating technology and you can talk and understand in your own language. So it's the day of Pentecost times 10,000. Okay. Yep. I mean, boom. So we're past that hurdle. We've jumped over that hurdle. And we've even moved to the point where we can take 1 million human beings at one time's capability and throw it into one AI generative technology to solve problems that we couldn't solve. We can solve the insuperable problems. Now, I remember Malachi Martin. You may not have heard of him. He was a Vatican exorcist who, after 25 years, quit the Vatican because he was very frustrated with what was being taught and done there. But he had been an exorcist for 25 years. I've read his writings. They're extraordinary in some of the deliverance and sessions he went through. But he spoke on Coast to Coast in 1997. You can find it where he's interviewed by Art Bell. And in the interview, Art Bell asked him if he understands the power of the Antichrist and how the Antichrist will come about. And he said, I can. The Antichrist is Lucifer himself taking possession of a human being. And to the Antichrist will be able to solve unsuperable problems.
Wow.
Problems that can't be solved, including the beginning sparks of life and the creation. He said that in 1997. That's way before we ever thought about AI. But he knew in the spirit world that the genie was going to get out of the bottle. What the D-Wave computers and supercomputers have done is they've let the genie out of the bottle. They understand the mathematical, but there's a reason for it. They don't want God to be the creator of all. They want to say they are the creator of all. And that's part of the whole disclosure, the whole UFO, UAP, alien process is to say there is no God, but we are God, or we were created by, I call it this. They went from creationism. They had to come up with a way to destroy creationism. So they created Darwinism. But when DNA was found out, DNA proves that Darwinism's a lie.
Right.
They went to what I call alienism. That's that there is a alien that created us and that there is no God. And now we're going to back it up with artificial intelligence and D-Wave computers that we say we know the formula of life, if you will, or the spark of creation. It is to deceive the world. It's part of the grand delusion. It's part of the strong delusion in the Bible in 2 Thessalonians 2. I really believe it's to get people to put their faith 100% into AI and not God. It is a deception.
Well, my mind is, man, you're just triggering all kinds of things in my mind. I'm thinking about, what we believe the power, the force, the evil force behind the beast system, behind the agenda of AI and all of this. We know where it ultimately leads to. It ultimately leads to the fallen angels. It ultimately leads to the watchers. Jesus warned us, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. So we know that that's what we're seeing happen. And so the angels had no part in actually creating the world that we know.
That's exactly right.
But they witnessed it.
They saw it.
So think about it. He says that in Job. He says, Job, where were you when the morning stars and the sons of God were singing, when I spoke all this into existence? But they were there. They were there. Yep. The angels were there. They were there. So the fallen angels and the good angels, they saw it. And so they can't fully explain it because they're not God. so they
Right.
can't do it. But they saw something happen. They saw the let there be light happen. So it's like they've found a way. This is just gospel according to Larry here, but they found a way to describe to this AI what they saw. And what they saw is what they saw. It's truth, but they can't explain it. So I believe they're going to go all the way up to trying to explain scientifically and with technology to replicate what they saw. But the difference is they can't create life. They can describe to you what happens when life happens, but they can't create life. And that's why it's the Antichrist. It is the Antichrist anointing. And that is what you just said about that they will be able to solve problems, because that's ultimately what humanity wants. They shake their fist at God and they say, how could a loving God that says they love me allow these things to happen that they happen? So therefore, you're not a loving God. So I don't believe in you. So then here swoops in the answer. Oh, but that's because you've got a convoluted version of God. Let me tell you about the all-loving God that this is why these things happen. People just want answers. But God says at some point, there's got to be faith, Paul. At some point, you've got to believe that God is, and he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
Exactly
and I believe that's what this world is headed towards. We're headed towards a simple choice. And that simple choice is, who is your creator? And if you choose this creator, you will choose their plan of salvation. But if you choose the creator, capital C, the one that spoke to nothing and nothing had to obey him and become something, not because of some mathematical equation or something that a quantum computer can create, but that it only comes from God, then that is your ultimate change. Come on, somebody. I'm preaching a little bit right now.
Now that will preach right now. We're in the ultimate collision course for truth. We're on a collision course for truth. And I promise you, when that collision course happens, Christ will be the only man standing.
Okay. Well, you're in that flow, and I'm going to let you preach for just about a few minutes here. I want you to look at that camera and preach, but before we do that, I want you to talk about, you're talking about a choice. You're talking about a collision. Look at this prophecy conference, y'all. You need, they're down in the description right now. It's not live on my website. I don't think at the time of this airing. It should be this week sometime, maybe there under the events page, but it will be linked in the description. Look at this lineup. Look who the headliner is. Pastor Paul Begley, Tony Merkel, Joseph Z, Alan DiDio, and me and my wife, Sandy. We will be leading our first ever prophecy conference of all years, the year that we're talking about, the year of acceleration, the year of disclosure, 2026. There's going to be so much going on in this world that we need to know about. And in Birmingham, Alabama, in person, this is not streaming. This is in person. These gentlemen will be on the platform at our church, Solid Rock in Birmingham. Go and register now. We have early bird registration for $50 until December 31st, and then it'll go up a little bit after that. But go ahead and get your ticket. The link is in the description. The Big Picture Prophecy Conference, March 27th, 28th, and 29th. You will be there for the whole conference, and on that Sunday morning at Solid Rock Church, you will be preaching as well. So we're excited. I'm going to turn you loose to preach in just a minute, but real quick, give me a 60-second call out to why people need to get to this conference.
Oh, you need to go to this conference, folks, because first of all, what a great lineup you have chosen for this. Folks, whenever you're going into any kind of a year or going into any kind of a period of time where you need to know what decisions to make, big decisions in life are still happening. How do you know what do you buy a home? Do you trade a car? Do you pursue this path? Do you believe that your family can be saved? What will it take to witness to them? There's so many things. What about your health? I mean, we're in a very changing world. And so prophecy through the Spirit of the Lord gives you the answers, gives you the direction, puts you on the right course so that you understand, so you don't get overwhelmed by the things that are happening, But instead, you are walking, you're the head, not the tail. You're above and not beneath. Why? Because you know what you're doing because of the prophetic word of God and the power of the prophecies. So this conference is a must. I'm going to say it. It's a must. Everybody under the sound of my voice should be planning on a trip to Birmingham on March 27, 28, and 29. I think that's the 3 days.
That's right. That's correct. Yes.
Wow. And you're going to see iron sharpening iron.
Yes.
I mean, that's another thing that happens in these. And you're going to meet some people of like-minded who are very much pursuing prophetic things. So I highly recommend you go right now to Solid Rock. Let's see, was it Larry?
The link in the description. Just go down to the link in the description, and it will be at LarryRagland.com as well. But down in the description, just scroll down there, click it. Now, Paul, you mentioned coming to Birmingham. You've been to our church. You know our church is a loving church. It's incredibly anointed. God's blessing us. So you'll get to experience praise and worship and all of that. But we have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Take a few minutes and look in that camera and tell people why we do what we do. It's just not to get clicks. This is not scare tactics. This is not to sell a book. You can think of whatever you want to think. We do what we do to wake up the people to what is coming. So what is coming, Paul, and what is the answer that we need to choose to get us through this moment?
What's coming is obviously in these end days, the coming of Jesus Christ is upon us, the soon return of Christ. And because he's coming, so is a lot of other events, including the rise of the beast and the beast system that is being put into play. Also, the greatest revival in history is coming. There's signs and miracles that are coming, great moves of God that are coming. And yet technology is going to accelerate. There's going to be a change in how food is distributed, how medicine is distributed, how life, whether you get to live or die, will be determined by a kingdom that's being established under the beast. So in this process, even though the Antichrist is not sitting on his throne yet, the evolution of what's coming is happening already. But Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, he is also coming. And the prophecy says that when he comes, he'll stand on the Mount of Olives. He'll split it in half. He'll rescue Jerusalem from the clutches of the darkness of the armies of Satan, and he will really come for his redeemed when he establishes this glorious millennial reign on the earth. Christ is coming for the dead in Christ. Christ is going to translate us who are alive and remain into the glorified body like unto him. And so Paul said it, if you're living on this world only without Christ, you would be very miserable. I'll use that term. But with Jesus in your heart, are you serious? You can walk in the victory no matter what comes against us. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. So yes, the King of glory is coming. Be ready. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Get born again. Get filled with the Spirit of God. Get washed in the blood of the Lamb. And get ready, because the King of glory is coming soon. Praise
what an honor it is to be alive right now. I mean, that God blessed us to be alive, not to be afraid, not to hide and cower, but to be the hands and feet of Jesus in the most critical, probably generation that this world has ever known. It's the final generation. It's where it all winds down. It's where prophecy leads. And that is why you need to go right now. The link is in the description, or you can go right to paulbegleyprophecy.com. I will link it in the description as well to the prophecy conference, of which I am prophecy predictions, I should say, 2026 webinar that I am a part of. And some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about in this webinar is going to blow your mind. Some things that I see coming in 2026. So I'm encouraging everyone to get it. It goes live tomorrow. Right around this time that if you're watching this live, right around this time is when it's going to go live. And you need to get it today. paulbegleyprophecy.com. Pastor Paul, thank you once again for being a part of the big picture. We love you and Heidi. Just in a matter of just a few months, we'll have you in Birmingham, Alabama for the prophecy conference. We can't wait to hang out with you, and we cannot wait. Many of you have been wanting to meet Paul. So come to Birmingham, Alabama, meet Paul and Heidi, get a picture, hang out with us, because it's not just going to be us talking. We're going to be fellowshipping with y'all, getting to know you. We can't wait. So, Paul, we love you. God bless you and all that you do. You better hurry. Mike from around the world is coming. You better get in. You better get ready because you're about. Are you serious? He's and you need to go over to Paul's show right now because Mike is going to have something to say tonight. Thank you, Paul.
God bless you, Larry. God bless.
Love you, brother. God bless. So thank you, and I love you, Big Picture family. You don't even know what you mean to us. I can't describe the growth that we're seeing right now in the Big Picture family is just phenomenal, and it's 100% you. You've been praying for us. You've been sharing this. Don't stop. Let's build it. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Can we believe God for that? I mean, I'm just going to believe God for it. But it seems unsurmountable, but we are growing. And why do you want 50,000 subscribers? Because that's 50,000 souls that can be equipped for the work of the ministry. We love you. We will see you next time on The Big Picture. We always want to remind you that we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. God bless.
Help us build the Big Picture family. We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. Go to LarryRagland.com to give a one-time gift or become a monthly partner. Any amount blesses the entire Big Picture family. While you're there, pick up our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect on social media, and get on the Big Picture mailing list at LarryRagland.com. Join us and be a part of the Big Picture family, where we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.